Number 73. Got on this. Number 73. I have my mic attached to my waistcoat. I guess that's okay. I'm wearing the waistcoat and the white shirt and the blue jeans. Flo said it's what I was wearing when we had our first date. Not the same shirt, but this is kind of the look. So today is Saturday, the 16th. The 16th of May, 3 o'clock. And I'm bringing Tuco for a walk, and he's rolling around. God bless him. He's just had his big yearly haircut. And now he looks so stylish now. He's rolling in the grass. Oh, not nice, Tuco. Good boy, huh? Look at you. He's itching a bit, but he's so elegant looking now. Flo does a great job of anything arty, or kind of like that, she's good at. It's as good, if not a better job you could get done by any of the people that do that for a living. And we try to make it not too disturbing for Tuco. We do a little bit and then let him off, and then keep giving him treats. And this time she did the paws and some other parts last week, so she didn't do it all in one, which I think is good, because the last time she did everything at once, it took hours and hours, and I always feel it's a bit too much to keep a dog. Expect the dog to stand still and behave for hours. I can't do that. Don't know about the dog, but if I'm getting my hair done, I kind of fed up after about half an hour. The 16th, this is a Saturday. So last night I started on a new map that I made with 3 big towns, and again I just put down lots of the industries that I need. And instead of being difficult, it's going to be pretty easy. I just put more industries than I did last time, so I want to see if the town gets over 1,000 citizens and it's the factories supplying it at full capacity. What happens if you hook up another factory? Can you actually keep the town growing, or is there some kind of a limit? And then I want to also, with this experiment, I want to try more with buses and trains and try and create a good passenger thing. Which way, Tuco? Where do you want to go? That way? Well, you go wherever you want today, after getting your hair cut. Well, the rain never came. A few days ago it said that there was rain coming for the whole week, but it doesn't seem to have arrived. Kind of experimenting with the microphone here. I'm just putting it on my shirt. Why does he go that way? Hello, Tuco. Why do you want to go that way for? I can't. if you go that way, we have to walk through the... I guess that's what you want. Okay, we're going to have to walk through the... Not really a forest. Tuco, allez, let's not walk to the forest. Let's go this way. Let's look for the rabbits. Où est le lapin? Où est le lapin? If I had a penny for every time I said où est le lapin. I'd have thousands of pennies. Kind of struggled to get out of bed a bit this morning. Well, this morning. This afternoon. And last night, what was I doing? I was watching a guy called Obsolete Odyssey. And he does these interesting stories on people. A lot of the time they're from the distant past. But it's kind of extraordinary people who have, people have extraordinary lives. Will I let man to go? Like the one I was watching, these two brothers in New York, and you're talking about they were in their 20s at around 1910, or maybe in their 30s. They were left a fortune by their father, but then they became, one of them lost his eyesight, the two brothers, and they became reclusive. And their neighborhood changed after the Great Depression. And for some reason, well, it's like they went a little crazy. I suppose you see people like that all over the place. They decided to stay in their house, and they started hoarding rubbish. Now, I've seen another documentary about a guy who did the same thing. It's astonishing the amount of crap people can get. They basically barricaded themselves into their mansion with rubbish. And in 1947 someone complained about the smell, and so the police had to eventually break in. But if you have tons and tons of rubbish behind a door, you like piles and piles of newspapers that are all together that let's say you rob, and as well as all kinds of other stuff. It's impenetrable. You can't get through it. But the police could not break through all the rubbish. It's kind of hard to imagine. I mean, it's not hard to imagine if you think of compressed newspapers, and then you imagine them all stacked, in a row, so that it builds like a big wall which is meters and meters thick. You can't get through that. It's impossible. And the police took so long to get in, and when they did, they found one of the guys was dead, seated on a chair, the guy who was blind. And then a couple of days later, when they managed to clear out some of the rubbish, they found the other guy who'd got kind of stuck in one of the traps he'd laid in when he had tunnels built under the rubbish. This was incredible. So yeah, I was listening to that and some other stories. And then the case of this guy called Chris Watts, who killed his wife and 2 children, which is just so awful. He wanted a divorce, I think, killed the wife, killed the 2 children, one 3, 1 5, something like that. Dumped all the bodies in a big oil silo, I guess, where he must have worked or known about. And all that bothered him afterward was that he just did not want to go to jail, no matter what. He would have done anything to stay out of jail. He didn't care, didn't seem to. I mean, I'm sure afterward, as he gets older, his conscience is going to have to start bothering him over something so terrible, 2 little children. And he drove them an hour to the place where he was going to kill 2 of them with their dead mother in the back of the car with them. Shocking. It really depressed me, actually, that thing. Sometimes it's not a good idea to get stuck into these things. They're kind of psychologically and the motive-wise way, and what people are in the world, they're intriguing in a way, but they just leave you disturbed inside, you know. And what was most strange about this, I guess, it's modern times, so everything's filmed, so the neighbour called to say she hadn't seen this woman in a while, and she's pregnant as well. That was the other thing. She was actually pregnant with another kid. So the police came to the house, knocked on the door to see if the woman was there, and then they called the husband. And so you could see him arriving home in his big fancy cars, like all Americans seem to have, and getting out of the door and coming up to the police. And the guy paused and said, it's hard to imagine at this point, this is just literally a few hours after this man has killed the 3 of them. So this is someone who's just killed 3 people, and he's now walking up and going to start lying to the police. And the police has a camera on his helmet or something, so there's like, you know, 30 minutes or more of footage that was up there to look at as they're doing the initial questioning. So we're just looking to check on your wife, we don't know where she is, have you any idea? And he's walking around, he's going, no, I don't know, and he's on his phone, and straight away the neighbours, the man neighbour, oh, let's go this way, Tuco. He called the policeman over and said, he's not acting normal, he never acts like this. He's always quiet and reserved and never really talks to me, and what he's doing now is just not like him at all. You know, the neighbours had him copped 5 minutes after he arrived home. Well, they took off. But he was just so terrible. Like I said, he didn't seem to, it didn't bother him or whatever. All he wanted was to make sure he didn't go to jail. And then when he did confess it eventually to his dad, he said, I came home and she'd killed the 2 children herself, and so I was filled with rage and I killed her. What could I do? I didn't. So he was trying to spin the story that he was kind of the victim, and he was going to destroy this poor woman's name by trying to say she'd killed the 2 children. The good thing was, it was all so fucking obviously fake. Like, the neighbour copped him on after 2 minutes, and so did the police. Everybody knew he'd done it. It was at the end when he started telling the part where he'd killed the wife, and then he'd put her in a car in the boot or whatever, in the back seat, and then he put the 2 children in with her. And one of the young ones kept asking, is Mummy okay? And then he drove them, and it's an hour. That just fucking destroyed me. I kept thinking of the 2 kids, because they must have gone through so much horror and terror in that hour. They wouldn't have known what was coming, which is probably just as well, but my God, they must have been so scared. That kind of emotion in someone. And then I think one kid was actually the eldest, watched him killing the younger sister. I mean, what do you feel at that point, you know, as a kid? God. You don't want to go there, really. It's too disturbing. Someone like me, I'd try and... I can't gloss over stuff like that. I will get deep into that, just the disturbingness of the children. What must they have experienced? if you're less sensitive, less, I guess, psychological, philosophical, your mind may not go there, and you may be able to deal with this in a colder way. It doesn't mean that you're any less a good person. It's just, it won't affect you in the same way than someone like me, who can kind of start putting myself in certain positions and starting to, you know, you're kind of thinking, imagine if that was someone you knew, or a kid you knew, or I don't know, putting myself in the place of the child themselves. It's I try and say to myself, what would that feel like? And I take the exercise seriously. What must those two children have felt like? And that's really disturbing. You know, I have to stop things like that, because, you know, you all right, Tuco? So yeah, not sure these are the best things to be watching before going to bed. Anyway. The other crazy thing about it, although we don't know exactly, but I guess it would have came out, but there is no crazy backstory to this guy as far as I know. You know, these situations normally they've got a dreadful upbringing and something snaps and it's like some psychological disorder, or they were treated horrendously. This guy just seemed like the most normal bloke, with a big house and a big car and everything kind of going okay. The part that Jung writes about this deadly shadow and this deadly evil that we all have, the fact that we're all capable of terrible things, and a couple of slight shifts here and there can make the sanest person become insane. It's pretty disturbing that so many people, we're all going along and we're closer to that kind of evilness than we really would like to admit. Although I have to say, I really think I'd prefer a bullet in the back of the head to being asked to do anything like that. God, it's terrible. Allez, Tuco. Let's not dwell on it. We don't want to fucking kill ourselves, do we? What's wrong? What's wrong with you, little fella? Oh God, look at you. You're so stylish. I can go home and give you your dinner and everything, huh? You're such a stylish little fella. You feel lighter. At least those things won't stick to your fur anymore. That's the main reason for having Tuco have short hair, so that he doesn't get all those things get stuck and get into the skin. What am I going to do today? Saturday. may have another crack at Red Dead Redemption. Alley. My stomach still feels bloated. I don't know what the hell. I didn't eat an apple yesterday, so I think it's the nuts. Unless it's all the white bread or something, but those pistachio nuts, they didn't even taste good to me. I do have something cool going, like I said, with the Transport Fever. I've got these nice 3 towns and simple industries all around, and they're all kind of on the way. I've hooked each of them up to their 2 respective supply chains that they want, and I think they're all moving up towards 700 citizens. So I'd like to, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how far I can go with that. I guess what I should be thinking about at this stage is, when the roads become just stuck with traffic, is there some way I can keep supplying the things they need? Because that's something I don't really want to happen. I don't want all the trucks to be just stuck there. How can I, is there any way maybe one-way roads, a one-way road system? I don't know. Roads are very fucking complicated. A special one-way road into just to the outskirts of the town, and then another one-way road back to, seems awfully complicated. Alright, don't join up anything and just put lots of trains and buses in, and try not to connect anybody, any towns by roads. I'm not sure that's going to work either though, because the traffic just builds up anyway. Isn't that right, Tuco? That's the certain kind of inevitability about this game that I don't like. Because really, if you do everything you can with trains and buses, you just shouldn't have that problem. But like I keep going on about, I'm not sure these games have any real depth to them. I think it's a scenario, it's a simulation, and the same thing happens every time. It doesn't matter what you do. Which means that part of this thing is that you're going to have all the roads blocked. That happens in, 2000. If you could build some roads so they go around the towns, like proper motorways, especially if you've got 3 towns, maybe you could go around the town, and then you have one kind of an off road for people who want to go to the town, and then the rest of the motorway just carries on to the next town, and maybe that might stop everybody having to go through the town to get to the next place. Maybe that would mean that the AI would be able to just realize that, okay, every second car actually wants to go to the next place, not this place, so each second car is going to stay on the motorway. That might be something, because I'm sure there's kind of built-in mechanisms to keep the cars and the people moving from one place to the other. Like with the trains, if you have a train in a bus station, train will come in from one place, and then people will get off, and if it's there, they'll more than likely get on another train and head off to somewhere else. Maybe the same thing happened with the roads. In Sin City, when it gets like that, you're able to fly the supplies into the Amigo factory. That was very handy. It avoided all the traffic. It'd be cool if you had a similar system here. If you could send in drones from the truck stop, and these drones just fly straight over and they drop the stuff off at the drop-off point in the middle of the town, and then fly back. That'd be nice. No problem with traffic. Because supplying the factories is fine. You can supply the factories normally in such a way that the main traffic doesn't really go near these places. They're normally in the middle of nowhere and traffic's not going to them. It's just getting the stuff in and out of the towns that becomes the problem. And that's so annoying. You've got a great system going, you've got a great supply chain, and everything is piling up on the truck stop, and the only reason is because your 5 big 36 holding unit trucks are all stuck at a traffic light somewhere in the middle of the fucking town. It's the same old, it's the same old thing. I do feel a bit inspired to go back to Red Dead. It's funny, every time I watch that guy, Strange Man is his name, he just uploads videos to explain certain stories and things in the game. And just by watching his character, he's playing with John Marston a lot of the time, because I've gone through the game obviously already. It's just one of those, he always makes you want to go back in and play yourself, because he does it in such a realistic, cool way. As someone said, it's very cinematographic. Is that a word? Nice and slowly, not running and banging around as if it's like as if you're watching a movie. His character gets off the horse properly, opens doors properly. He's not kind of running like a lunatic, you know. It's like watching a real thing. There's one thing as well. He has his character wearing a big, like a sheepskin or bear fur jacket, like you'd see the mountain men in the old movies wearing, and every time I see it, I think I'd love to have something like that. But in order to do that, you have to find where the trappers are, and then you have to go and get the type of fur, the type of animal you need to kill. Sometimes it can be the bears, which is not the easiest. Just looks so cool having your cowboy dressed up like that. It gives it a lot of the little touches. They give the character in the game that little bit more realism. The more stuff I think you can do with them, the more little touches. So we're heading back. Enjoying our break. It may well change coming when it gets into June. There's a lot of talk here about the 2nd of June or something as the day when the bars and restaurants will make some kind of attempt to open. I have to say, maybe it sounds terrible, but I'd love to see the stock market start to just go down and down. I just find a fascination with that. But it's not. It doesn't seem to be. It's like it doesn't seem to be connected with the rest of the world. The stock market and the currencies. They're all just doing exactly what they normally do, which is, I know it's not exactly the same, but it seems insane when you think of all the businesses. It just goes to show, I think, what I often think. It really is a bunch of wealthy people. And it's their own little club for fucking playing exceptionally high-staked poker, you know. It was like that in the Great Depression. There's like a handful of people. They put lots of money into certain stuff, and so all the public followed. And then when they got to a certain level, they just took everything out and crashed the whole thing. So it wasn't the general public. It was like a half a dozen people at the top. You get the feeling it's something similar at the moment. Although when it comes to pensions and all things, and all the stuff the bank is doing, there's so much stuff happening that we don't know about. It could even be stuff happening the banks don't know about. There's so much automatic computeration and things. And nowadays, like somebody said, it just seems to be this thing of, I mean, if you can keep printing money and just sending, Donald Trump, just sending $1,000 checks to people, well, why don't you just keep doing that then? What's the point in the whole system? Just give everybody fucking unlimited, I don't know, credit cards or something where you don't have to pay it back. It's like all free. Everybody will keep the economy going. But you know, money won't mean anything. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand economics. Stop, Tuco. Stop. That's why my regional college 1 year of business studies was a fucking bad idea. Accountancy and maths and stuff, I hadn't a clue. Stop, little fella. Stop. Listen to me. I know there's nothing coming, but allez! Doesn't matter if there's nothing coming. You're supposed to wait for me to give the signal, huh? That's what you're supposed to do. Right. I wonder, do we have any mail? I should check that. Wait there, Tuco. Good boy. Again, I know there's nothing coming, but you have to wait for the signal. You ready for the signal? Concentrate. Allez! Sometimes I don't think he listens. Let's go back to Flo. Show you how nice you are. Oh, sure, we'd love to show you off. Let's go back to Flo. At least your tail is left long, huh? I'm glad. You look a bit like a rat with the tail cut. Hello, Rita. Oh, Rita. Good girl. Oui. Huh? Where's Flo?
Do you see one?
No, I can get to show him off to anyone.
Oh, look at that little ass. Look at that little ass. Huh?
Is it feeding time?
No, it's 4 o'clock.
Yeah, he's had a lot of crap anyway, hasn't he? So we'll leave it till
Did he?
6. Well, when you've given him lots of treats.
Yeah. il faut
Goodbye.
que tu me pardonnes.
Yeah, good Lord. My voice is breaking. Teenage years are coming. Let him stay with you, yeah? I think I'm going to eat an egg. You boiled one for me, didn't you?
Yeah. I did for you, yeah. I did do that for you.
Amazing how thoughtful you are.
Yeah. That's me.
Look at you now with your little hoe.
My what?
Your hoe. The American word for the thing you're using is called a hoe.
Oh, really?
But it's also another way of pronouncing whore. Hoe. You little hoe. You remind me again, I get flashbacks of Laura Ingalls, Little House on the Prairie. You're planting the crop of potatoes or something?
They were using gloves, no?
No, but she probably had a similar, she dressed it similar to you though.
Yeah.
Similar hat. You're going to keep Flo company, Tuco, for a while, huh?
Yeah. Give him here.
Yeah, I'll close the door. Ah, Tuco, where are you going? What about poor Flo, huh? He's going to leave her there. Maybe he wants a drink. All right, 4:20. I'm going to give you a half of one of these outside. The big half. Allez. Allez, out here, up. Good boy. There he goes. There you go. There you go. Do you want to hear a nice sound? How about that? You hear another nice sound? Well, that was it going off. You didn't really hear that. Anyway, I guess I got to switch off now. I'm back in the computer room. And that was 38 minutes. 38 minutes. So from all of us here in the studio, from this, the 16th of May, on this Saturday afternoon at 4 o'clock, I'd like to wish you all a very pleasant afternoon and see you tomorrow. Goodbye for now. No staggering.